This is Too Far Enterprises, and today we're going to talk about the rise and fall of great civilizations. And I could list and go on about how maybe Rome and Africa and a whole bunch of other civilizations fell, but I'm going to tell you one of the main reasons why they fell was inner turmoil, corruption. One particular branch of government having too much power and abusing that power. For instance, like SCOTUS, the Supreme Court of the United States, Representative Cortez is bringing articles of impeachment on two of the judges there. And I won't name their names right now. The reason why is because it seems that this statement is so true that no one is supposed to be above the law. But you have forgotten one thing. And the one thing is that those within the law have the power to be above the law if you do not have checks and balances in place. If you do not have the people where the power is supposed to reside, act and speak as one. In the United States government, checks and balances is a system that allows each branch of government to respond to the actions of the other branches and prevents any one branch from becoming too powerful. Those branches are the executive, i.e. the president, judicial, SCOTUS, legislative, Representative Cortez, senators, and so forth. Now, each branch has different powers that allow it to check the power of the other branches. But I'm going to ask you a question. We're the ones that supposedly vote for these legislative, especially senators and representatives, okay? And they haven't been acting in our best interest, at least some of our best interests, okay? We claim to have a two-party system, Republican and Democrat, but actually they're not no different. Because the same people who manipulate the Republicans manipulate the Democratic Party also. The legislative is not the only branch that's affected by third-party contributors and people who actually corrupt our judicial and executive branches of government also. Now, the people are supposed to have the power, but most people will claim they don't know, or they are frozen and don't know what to do. Well, I'm coming out and I'm telling you that if Project 2025 gets passed, you won't have to worry about being frozen or not knowing what to do, because they're going to bring it to you. And the fact is, it tells me that some parts of it, and I'm not going to quote too much about Project 2025 because I haven't read it, but I understand that if they institute the draft, that they'll be using the military and supporting the police and granting the police immunity for their acts, okay, in the line of duty. And you know, the line of duty could mean different things to different people, okay? But we are supposed to be the ones, the people are supposed to be the ones that have the power. So how is it that Supreme Court judges, legislators, and even the president or his relatives can get away with taking bribes, things that you and I would get prosecuted for, me more than you, and they can get away with that. And we can sit down and we can argue amongst each other, especially in our community. We can argue about each other, but these people who are already making a really good salary, they come out of the legislature and out of the SCOTUS and the executive branches filthy rich. But you don't want to talk about that. You'd rather correct me. You'd rather aim your hate at me. At one time, blacks were supposed to be taking the jobs of white people. Okay? Now, it appears that the new immigrants are taking the jobs that blacks had. But let me tell you something. All of that, may be true. And a lot of this, we have to bring and put this on the table. Actually, if the rich and the super rich actually give their share of the tax money and they are treated just like every individual is supposed to be treated, especially under constitutional law, there would be enough for everybody, and nobody would be taking nothing from nobody. Nobody's taking anything from you anyway. That's your belief. That was put in your head by the same puppet masters that are actually corrupting the legislature, the judicial branch, and the executive branch. But nobody's talking about that. They get a chance to get away scot-free. And I don't understand that, because now it's affecting everybody. I don't care if you're pink, there's no white. You're yellow, you're red, you're black, you call yourself brown. All of this corruption that is taking place is worse than the Revolutionary War. The British are coming. No, the British are already here. Okay? And guess what? They're making a mockery of the Constitution and the power of the people. And maybe it's not their fault. Maybe it's our fault because we don't do anything. Now, Representative Cortez has introduced some articles of impeachment, and let her speak for a minute on this.
I thank for the listing of all the special interests involved in addition in this hearing.
Well, I'll let AOC tell you the rest.
I first heard that the Republican side was going to be calling a hearing on third-party influence in our courts. I was so excited because I thought, finally, we are going to address the biggest scandal in American democracy we are currently having right now, which is the extraordinary corruption and wholesale purchase of members of the Supreme Court. And I also find it amusing that we just heard from the Republican side, why do we want to talk about this? Because women have lost the right to choose, because Indigenous people have lost rights, because minorities have lost rights, because working people across the country have lost rights due to this level of corruption. And if we're going to talk about third parties, let's talk about the Federalist Society, which has not only had deep ties to Justice Clarence Thomas and his wife Ginny, but has also helped choose judicial nominees for the Republican Party and directed multi-million-dollar media campaigns to confirm them, including a multi-million-dollar media campaign for Justice Alito, who seems to like using the Wall Street Journal as his personal press secretary. He did not recuse himself from this case. And in fact, he used his seat on the Supreme Court after all of this to rule in Singer's favor. And following the decision, Mr. Singer's hedge fund was ultimately paid $2.4 billion.
This is Too Far Enterprises. Look it up. Representative Cortez article of impeachment.